A few years back, I stumbled upon a game that would change my life forever. Fire Emblem Awakening. Little did I know, this seemingly innocent tactical RPG was a cleverly disguised gateway drug to an entirely different lifestyle. What started as a casual entry into the world of TRPG turn-based combat quickly spiraled into a complex web of grief, regret, character attachments, and romantic entanglements. Let's talk about how this game turned me into a better, albeit slightly more paranoid, gamer, and how it covertly nurtured a newfound love of waifus and hot anime boys. Picture this, a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed 14-year-old me, eagerly booting up Awakening for the first time.
For the first time.
The game quickly greeted me with a choice of difficulty. According to the internet, the so-called way the game is supposed to be experienced was on the intermediate difficulty with permadeath turned on. Now, you may be thinking, isn't this your first tactical RPG? And to that I say, yes. Yes, it is. You may then ask if I am certain I want to play with permadeath on, and I would say, yes. Yes, I do, because the internet told me so, and I always trust the internet. Anyway, some may say it was naivete, but I know myself, and I would say I was a cocky little gamer. How bad could it be?
Excellent use of foreshadowing as a rhetorical device to prepare the viewer for what is to come next.
At first, everything seemed fine. Strategy was straightforward, and I breezed through the first chapters with the skill and ease of a seasoned general. I was on par with the likes of Julius Caesar and Napoleon Bonaparte. Then came Paralogue 1, Sickle to Sword. It was here that I met Donnel, a country village kid sporting a brass pot on his head and wielding a makeshift spear. Oddly, Crom coaxed the kid into fighting the bandits with us, despite the fact that he was nothing more than a farm boy. Upon freeing the village and saving his mother, Donnel practically begged me to let him join my group. Naturally, I was intrigued by this unlikely hero and immediately decided to recruit him.
Yeehaw! I can fight too!
What's the worst that could happen?
Maybe it was the slight southern twang in his voice, or maybe it was the kitchen-themed armor. But I was going to make this kid a star. After all, who wouldn't want to see the scrappy kid rise through the ranks to become a hero? It was my own shonen anime.
Hooey!
The problem was, I had yet to fully grasp that Fire Emblem was not a game where you can just throw your new recruits into the thick of battle and expect everything to be fine. I watched Donnel say his goodbyes to his mother, and I immediately moved Donnel to the front line of the next battle, ready to watch him become the MVP of my army.
Yeah! Yeah! What's up? Go, 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 go! Listen up! Here we go!
And then he died, horribly, speared through the heart within seconds. All the while, Crom and Samia were flirting up a storm in the backline.
She's hot. I'm hot. I'm sure the child will be fine.
Oh! 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 Sorry, Mom.
My first reaction was, I guess this is going to be harder than I thought. I quickly swept through the fight, clearing the level. I'd just be more careful on the next map. I started the next mission and looked to put Donnel on the field, this time with some help so that he could actually survive long enough to get XP. But Donnel was nowhere to be seen.
Where'd he go?
I stared at my unit list. Then I was suddenly struck by a devastating realization. Permadeath was on, and Donnel wasn't coming back. Ever. After Donnel's tragic demise, I couldn't shake the feeling that I needed to do everything in my power to prevent such a loss from happening again. From that point on, Fire Emblem Awakening turned me into the most cautious strategist you could imagine. I triple-checked every possible enemy movement before making a decision. Every turn felt like a high-stakes chess match, where one wrong move could cost me another beloved character. If I even thought a character might be in danger, I'd run.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
My experience with Donnel had shaken me to my core, and suddenly, keeping my characters alive wasn't enough. I needed to make sure they were strong, nigh invincible. I needed to create an army of super soldiers so I never had to worry about making a mistake again. And I would stop at nothing to achieve that goal.
That sounds ominous.
As I continued to play, I discovered something unexpected. Fire Emblem Awakening wasn't just about strategy and battle tactics. It was also about relationships. What initially seemed like a side feature, a cute little support dialogue between characters, quickly revealed itself to be a full-blown anime dating sim in disguise. Suddenly, I found myself not just commanding an army, but playing matchmaker as well. At first, my interest in pairing characters was purely strategic. If two units worked well together on the battlefield, why not see if they could get along off the battlefield too? But as the game progressed, I found myself getting increasingly invested in the romantic lives of my soldiers. Who should end up with whom? What pair had the best chemistry? I was spending as much time debating character relationships as I was planning out battle strategies. And let's not forget the allure of the characters themselves. The game is packed with waifus and hot anime boys who are just as deadly on the battlefield as they are easy on the eyes. Crom, with his chiseled jaw, the sense of duty, the leader of the shepherds, an obvious favorite. Tharja? I was no longer just a tactician. I was the matchmaker of my very own anime drama, and it was awesome. The tactical RPG I had signed up for was now sharing space with an intricate web of love stories that I was crafting. Then the babies happened. You see, Fire Emblem Awakening doesn't just let you pair characters for the sake of sweet romantic subplots. It rewards you for it. The offspring of your units inherit their parents' skills, leading to some insanely strong units. So, what started as an innocent interest in character relationships quickly became an objective and calculated science. I was no longer playing matchmaker. I was a genetic engineer, obsessively pairing units based on their potential to produce the ultimate warrior. Eugenics was my pathway to redemption.
Hello, redemption.
This obsession with producing the perfect unit consumed me. I wasn't just optimizing for battle stats, I was eliminating the possibility of another Donnel. I pored over stats and abilities. I started to evaluate my characters not as individuals, but as potential contributors to my eugenics program. Like I was analyzing breeding pairs in a livestock simulator. Personalities, stories, and love didn't matter anymore. Instead, I needed to make sure every child born into my army was powerful, resilient, and capable of surviving even the harshest battles. Anything less would be a betrayal to the memory of the poor village boy I had so carelessly thrown into the fray. But while I analyzed each potential pairing, I couldn't help but wonder what might have been. In a game so rich with character interactions and relationships, I began to ponder, who would have fallen in love with Donnel? Who would have seen the potential underneath that brass pot?
Hooey!
Maybe it would have been Lissa, the spirited healer who could have taught Donnel that courage wasn't just about fighting. Or perhaps Sully, the tough-as-nails knight who might have admired his grit and determination. Or maybe, just maybe,
Tharja!
The more I thought about it, the more I realized that I hadn't just lost a unit, I'd lost a story. A beautiful, potentially romantic story that could have blossomed on the battlefield. It gave me genuine pause. Was controlling the breeding pool right? Or was I wrong? Was a world where love is a luxury no one can afford a world worth saving? Was the pursuit of a super soldier the actual betrayal of Donnel's memory and the life he could have lived?
I don't know.
Needless to say, Fire Emblem introduced me to a lot of new thoughts, feelings, and ideologies. But perhaps the most important thing it gave me was lots and lots of waifus. And hot anime boys too. As I continued to delve into my character relationships, I found myself increasingly drawn to the anime art style, the quirky personalities, and the sometimes ridiculous, sometimes touching dialogues between characters. It wasn't long before I had forgotten all about my ruthless endeavor for a perfect unit. The skills I had calculated were thrown to the wind in service of a love story that I felt needed to be told. I wasn't just a tactician anymore. I was a full-blown shipper. I wasn't just interested in winning the game. I wanted to win the hearts of every character. I didn't need to create the ultimate army anymore. Instead, I needed to create the ultimate anime orgy. Family! The ultimate anime family. I shipped partners with the fervor of a teenager who posts fanfiction on Tumblr in 2010. I cared less about the game's main plot and more about who would end up with whom. And I think at the end of the day, that is what Donnel would have wanted. He wouldn't want me to live in agony, struggling every day to right the wrongs of my ignorance.
Ma.
No, Donnel would have wanted me to fill the world with happiness, love, trust, and anime babies. Looking back, Fire Emblem Awakening was a crash course in emotional attachment, strategic paranoia, and the art of waifu tactics. It turned me into a cautious, overprotective player who couldn't bear the thought of losing even the weakest unit. And it introduced me to the addictive thrill of matchmaking in a game where romance had tangible battlefield-changing consequences. But more than that, it taught me the dangers of letting one tragic loss dictate your future decisions.
Sorry, Ma.
My obsession with creating the perfect soldier, born out of a desperate need to prevent another Donnel from falling in battle, led me down a dark and twisted path. What started as an innocent attempt to save a village kid turned into a full-blown eugenics experiment driven by a fear of failure and loss. In the end, thanks to Donnel, I realized that the path to creating a near-invincible army would have superseded simply playing and enjoying everything the game had to offer. All in all, if you ever find yourself drawn to games with permadeath and anime character relationships, be warned, you might end up obsessing over whether Lanshu should end up with Lissa or if Cordelia is a better match for him. You'll laugh, you'll cry, and if you're anything like me, you'll emerge from the experience a proud, paranoid waifu tactician, forever changed by the emotional hazards of Fire Emblem Awakening. Oh, and remember, if your actions ever result in the accidental death of an innocent young man, you can always fill that void with waifus and hot anime boys. Because in the end, nothing heals a broken heart like a Tharja cutscene.
Tharja?
Now some of you may be wondering to yourselves, why didn't you just soft reset after Donnel died? Why didn't you just create a new save file after you accidentally saved his death? And to that I say, I don't fucking know. I'm an idiot. Just FYI, Donnel's dying wish was for you to like, comment, and subscribe. So in his honor, you probably should. Oh, and if you made it this far, here were my final romantic matchups. Crom and Samia. It's canon and I don't care what you say. Lissa and Rickon. Twinks deserve love too.
Thanks.
Sully and Stahl, cause two knights? Frederick and Pan, they're both moody. Lanshu and Cordelia, hot couple. Naui and Kellum. To be honest, they're both super tanky and their kid was bonkers strong. Gregor and Olivia, himbo for the winbow. Gaius and Maribel, cause of course the princess would fall for the street rat. Muriel and Henry, magic. Church and Vike, swing axe, kill thing. And I, married
Tharja?
Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm gonna go write another essay now. I'll see you next time.